On the day of the proposal, I ran into my girlfriend at a bridal shop. She had told me she couldn't make it yet. There she was, trying on wedding dresses with another guy. I asked why. She said he's just a friend, and I was being too controlling. I decided to break up and start anew. My life started thriving. Then she came back crying, asking me to marry her. Sorry, it was all my fault before. Can you forgive me? She pleaded. I shook my head. Sorry, I can't accept that. On the day of the proposal, I waited for 3 whole hours for Anna, but she never showed up. By the 4th hour, her call finally arrived. She said she couldn't make it and told me not to wait. After a moment of silence, I exhaled, trying to sound normal. All right, then. I wanted to ask where she was, but she hung up before I could finish. It's always like this. She only called when she had something going on, never caring if I agreed or not. I argued at first, but Anna looked at me with disdain. Nick, can't you stop clinging to me every day? I need my own space too, she'd say. Her life was hers, while mine revolved around her. Anna would say she loved me yet kept pushing me away. I was just a puppet in her hands. Any slight movement and my actions would be affected, and I never had the right to refuse. A few tears, a little bit of grievance. I'd forget everything before in an instant. I loved her so much that I'd rationalize her every action, seeing them through a filter named love. But it was all fake, and eventually the filter shattered. As time went by, Anna's temper worsened and she grew more distant. She stopped coming home, spending nights out with friends, and I just guarded an ever-dark phone at home. Every message from Anna felt like a blessing to me back then. We had another fight recently because I called her at a party. She said I embarrassed her. This minor issue led to a week-long Cold War, and Anna demanded I show an attitude or she'd never come home. In desperation, I thought of proposing. She often said she felt insecure and couldn't see a future for us. So I would hand it to her directly. But Anna didn't show up. She wouldn't even give a reason. I stayed till the restaurant closed before leaving heavily. Passing by a bridal shop, I walked in on impulse, intending to look once more at the wedding dress Anna liked. But the spot was empty. I called to a shop assistant. Excuse me, where's the dress that was here? Sorry, sir, a customer is trying it on right now. You might want to wait a bit. I nodded, sat in a corner, and started taking pictures of all the dresses to send to Anna. I'm at the bridal shop, want to come? You can try on the one you liked. Before I finished typing, a voice came from the dressing room. Charles, does this look good? That voice was too familiar because it had sounded in my ears countless times. I got up and hurried to the dressing room, my fists trembling. The shop assistant blocked my way immediately. Sorry, sir, you can't go there. You might disturb other customers. I pushed her aside gently. Sorry, I'll make any compensation necessary. But I yanked back the curtain before she finished, and a scream resonated. Who? What are you doing? Nick? Why are you here? Turns out it was exactly as I thought. Anna was trying on a wedding dress inside. Beside her was a man in a suit, his hand on Anna's chest. I suppressed my anger. Anna, trying on a wedding dress with another man? Is this what you call urgent? Anna was afraid of causing a scene and tried to change and pull me out. I shook off her hand. Why leave? Can't we discuss here? Nick, it's not what you think. There are so many people, could you? I cut her off. Lots of people, perfect for witnessing this. I glanced around the room, my gaze landing on the somewhat familiar man. I'm Nick, Anna's boyfriend, and you are? Anna grabbed me and dragged me outside before he could answer. Nick, what are you doing? Are you crazy? She, as always, accused me before I could speak. I looked at her mockingly, just asking, how is that crazy? You bailed on our meeting to try on wedding dresses with someone else. Isn't it you who's lost it? Before you point fingers, care to introduce who's your company? Anna's expression shifted, subtly blocking the man behind her. Then she turned. You go back first. I can handle this alone. Once he left, she forced me onto a bench by the river. Nick, he's a childhood friend. Today I was helping him with the dresses. Nothing's between us. Why make a big deal? I pointed in his direction. I was in the store the whole time. Every worker said you two were a couple. Care to explain that? Anna opened her mouth, indignantly displaying a pitiful expression. Nick, after all this time, you doubt me? She started wiping away non-existent tears. He's my childhood friend, Charles. You guys were in student council together. It's been a few years. How could you not remember? Nick, if you're trying to embarrass me in public, you've succeeded. Are you happy now? I listened to those all too familiar words, feeling unruffled inside. It's the same thing every single time. Even when Anna messes up, she always acts like the victim in front of me, just to mess with my feelings. I used to work late and often stayed at the office until midnight. To not bother her sleep, I'd crash at work. Even though I'd always let her know in advance and she'd approve, I'd still face complaints the next day at home. Nick, is your job more important than me? You know I get insecure easily. Why can't you just be there for me? So I started bringing work home. But when that happened too much, Anna got annoyed again. Nick, home is for rest, not your office. Why do you immediately lock yourself in the study once you're here? No matter what I did, she'd always find something to criticize. And if I showed any doubt, she'd sit and cry quietly. Fine, I get it. You have so many things that matter more, and I'm always last on the list. Before long, she started punishing and threatening me on purpose. She wouldn't come home at night, ignored my calls, and never responded to my messages. She grew cold. I'd get worked up, call her out, and wouldn't even get an explanation. You don't care about me, so what's the point of coming back? Whenever I'd hear that, I'd drop everything to find her, to bring her home. And Anna would just enjoy it all. With just a few words, my emotions would be all over the place, and I'd lose myself in the process. She knew that the minute she shed a tear, I'd give in. But people get tired and they can become numb. Her actions just wore down my feelings until there was nothing left. Now, looking at Anna sobbing, I felt no sympathy, just endless annoyance. She sat crying on the bench, and I had enough. So I got up. If you like crying so much, go ahead. Let's talk when you calm down. I'm out. That was the first time I left Anna like that. Walking by the river all the way home, her image kept flashing before me. We had our first official date, our first kiss, and the first time going home together by that river. Back then, I just settled into my job and couldn't resist sharing it with a girl I'd liked for so long. Anna, standing in the sun and breeze, congratulated me with a smile. Seeing her gentle eyes, I found the courage to confess. She didn't agree right away, but asked for some time to think it over. 3 days later, she nodded, becoming my girlfriend. Our relationship was like anyone else's, sweetness mixed with small arguments and compromises. I'd always be the first to apologize. Over time, things twisted. My apologies became her way of controlling me. At first, I didn't mind. I loved her, so I forgave everything. But her unreasonable behavior only worsened. She started interfering with my work and blocked my interactions, even with just colleagues. You promised you'd only like me. I can't stand anyone else diverting your attention from me. I know I'm over the top, but it's all because I love you. I feel so insecure and need to tie you down. If my love's overbearing, just tell me, and I won't bother anymore. After she spoke, she covered her face and wept in silence. Her tears slipping through her fingers weakened me. I gently took her hand and said, I understand. It's all okay. From then on, she used that line on me. When she'd stand me up and party all night, or when male admirers approached her, though she wasn't actively encouraging. Later, she'd even stop letting me know where she was. My proposal was a last-ditch effort for both of us. Sadly, she never showed up. That was it. Let's end things here. I came home, cleaned up, and then just sat on the couch in a daze. Even with my decision made, seeing the plants around the house brought a bitter sting. This was our home for so long, filled with memories of our relationship. The chopsticks were her style, the kitchen was my taste, succulents were mine, orchids were hers. We'd dream about the future on the balcony, about a cat and a dog, but all that's gone with Anna's betrayal. At 2 a.m., I heard the door. Anna finally came back, eyes swollen. She looked surprised to see me on the couch. then sat cautiously beside me. "Why aren't you sleeping? Were you waiting for me?" She started tearing up again. I detached myself from past feelings. "I wasn't waiting, just thinking things through." "What did you figure out?" I got up, not looking back. "You'll find out soon enough." Anna seemed momentarily stunned, maybe not believing that I'd ever had the backbone to say that. Who knows how long it took, but Anna eventually went to bed, shutting the door hard to show her displeasure. Next morning, Anna was already gone. I glanced at the calendar. It noted she'd be on a business trip for 3 days. I wrote that memo. I had taken time off long ago to drive her to the airport, but now that she went alone, I felt relieved. Got dressed and headed to the park for a jog. Even after running laps and resting on a park bench till noon, no calls from Anna. It dawned on me having this kind of easy, free time was like a distant memory. From the day we started dating, I had always followed Anna's lead. When she needed me to pick her up, I dropped everything, no work excuses allowed. When she didn't, I had to stay away. I couldn't interfere in her life, no matter how much I cared. She just started working and her salary is pitiful, yet she spends money extravagantly. I've already warned her a few times, but all I got was her complaints. "Nick, you're just my boyfriend, not my parents, you're way too controlling." She often lacks boundaries with other guys, and when I point it out, she thinks I'm being controlling. "Nick, I'm a person, not your accessory. Can you stop using your theories to educate me?" When she said these things, she never realized she was exactly the kind of person she claimed to dislike. Out of love, I put on rose-colored glasses and saw those words as caring for me. Looking back now, it was just her scary control freak nature and selfishness at play. When I was about to leave the park, I surprisingly got a message from her first. "I just got off the plane, heading to the meeting place. Take good care of yourself at home." I smirked. What's this? Did she notice my change in attitude? So she's stooping to appease me? I didn't bother to reply and decided to turn my phone off until dinner. When I turned it on, the screen kept flashing with message after message. "Nick, why aren't you replying to me? I told you my plane landed. Why can't you show some concern and check in? Can't you do even this little thing? I'm at the venue, why no response? And why is your phone off?" The questioning kept repeating. I scrolled to the end and saw her tone slightly softened. "Sorry if my tone was a bit off earlier. I got worried when I couldn't reach you. I'll contact you after my meeting." After that message, there were no new ones. She seemed to have paused her questioning. Then I got a friend request saying it's from a wedding dress shop. I accepted and got a message right away. "Why aren't you replying to Anna's messages? She's crying all day for you. Do you have no conscience?" His tone was full of accusations, as if he understood Anna better than anyone in this world. I found it quite ridiculous and blocked and deleted the guy, then posted to my social circle. I snapped a picture of the dining table and posted it with the caption "Chill and happy me time." Soon, many likes came flooding in, mostly from old friends who were surprised to see me active again. I replied in the comments, "Hey everyone, long time no see. I'm gonna start living well. If there are gatherings, invite me." Half an hour later, Anna hadn't liked the post, but I was sure she saw it. So, I pulled up social media, typed in the familiar ID, and yep, the account owner had just posted something. No matter how good the relationship or how great the person, there's always a day where you part ways. Below was a comment from the same familiar person. "But don't worry, I'll always be here." I noticed it was posted just a minute after my social circle post. She really is impatient. I stumbled upon Anna's interactions with someone else purely by accident. One night 6 months ago, Anna didn't bring her phone to the bathroom for the first time. I went to grab some clothes just as the screen lit up. Anna had told me she didn't use any social apps, but that direct message proved her lie. Following this lead, I installed the app and tracked down the account. Over 2 years of content confirmed that account belonged to Anna. Every post she made over those 2 years had comments from one person consistently. All clues pointed to this commenter being someone I'd heard of, maybe even met. His name was Charles. Charles was Anna's neighbor and childhood friend. Their families knew each other since preschool, and they were inseparable from elementary through high school. Charles even chose to study at the same college as Anna over his preferred school. I met Charles once through a student council event. Back then, he had a girlfriend, and Anna and I weren't close. It wasn't until after Charles went abroad and Anna broke up that she and I grew closer. I thought Anna and Charles were just friends and figured she, like me, had forgotten what Charles looked like over the years. But that account made me realize how wrong I was. They hadn't just stayed in touch. Anna was torn between us. Every post, her coming home late, picking fights with me, it was all related to Charles, even encouraged by him. From the moment I discovered this, I've been deceiving myself, pretending I didn't know she was lying, pretending she loved me all along, afraid my actions would lead to our breakup. I tried hard to win her back, but it was all in vain. A phone ring pulled me from my thoughts. It was Anna calling. "Nick, what's going on with your social post? What new life? Be honest, are you breaking up with me?" I spoke lightly, of course not. Don't overthink it. The same words had different effects on us. I used to swallow my thoughts to avoid upsetting her. Now the tables have turned, and she can't handle it. Early the next morning, an urgent ringing woke me from sleep. The phone kept ringing several more times, so I reluctantly answered. "Hello? Who is this?" The voice on the other end was unfamiliar and male. "Anna dropped everything to rush back because of what you posted. She didn't even sleep, and now she's sick right after landing." "Nick, aren't you coming to take care of her?" I hung up the phone, got dressed, and quickly headed to the address Charles mentioned. It was a residential area. "You're late. Anna's already asleep." Charles was leaning against the door, not sounding too friendly. I ignored his attitude and glanced around. "Where are we? Is this your place?" There was a brief moment of guilt in Charles's eyes. "Yeah, it's my place. It's close to the airport, and Anna didn't want to go to the hospital, so I brought her here." "Oh really? Must have been tough for you then." I went in to check on the sleeping Anna, pausing to look at her trembling eyelids. "If she's sleeping, she might as well stay here. I've got things to do. Thanks for taking care of her. I'm sure it's not her first time being here." Before leaving, I glanced at the nightstand and the coffee table in the living room. Everything matched the stuff Anna posted online. Every time she had an excuse not to come home, she was really with Charles. As I was about to leave, I heard hurried footsteps behind me, and then someone small hugged me tightly from the back. "Nick, I came back just for you. Where are you going?" I pried her hands off my waist and turned to give her a half smile. "You've got someone taking care of you. Why would I get in the way? I'm going where I need to be. Nick, Charles and I are just friends. He was just helping out." "Great. Just let him keep helping you then." Despite Anna's insistence, I ended up taking her home. I stayed silent on the drive, though I could feel her looking at me every now and then. Once parked, I got in the elevator first, with Anna following. She played a voice message from Charles. "Anna, you should be home by now, right? Make sure to rest. I've ordered soup since I know you don't like hot water. It'll arrive in 10 minutes. Eat before taking your meds. Okay?" I didn't catch the rest as Anna hurriedly closed the chat, staring at me in panic. "Nick, it's not what you think with Charles and me. We're just friends, really. Nick, are you mad? You?" She followed me from the elevator to the bedroom, blocking my way, demanding an explanation. "Nick, I came home all this way for you. Why can't we just talk it out? Why are you treating me like this?" I rubbed my forehead, realizing things wouldn't settle unless I cleared the air. So I started. "First, I'm not interested in your relationship with Charles. I don't care and I'm not mad. That's your business. Second, coming back was your choice, not mine. Don't make it sound like I forced you. Lastly, I don't think I've mistreated you. I replied to your messages, checked on you, and only left once I knew you were okay. So why are you clinging to me?" After saying all this, Anna just stared at me, not saying a word. I patted her shoulder as I walked by. "Please move. I need to rest." For the 3 days that followed, neither of us spoke or exchanged glances. Even in the same space, we felt like strangers. Maybe my cold demeanor hit a nerve. Anna posted a bunch of sad, negative stuff online, all with comforting replies from Charles. At least she has someone, which only strengthened my resolve to leave. Once the holiday was over, I dove into work. I took on every overtime and business trip that came up, hoping to avoid Anna as much as possible. A few weeks later, there was news of a new branch office needing set up in another city. I immediately signed up. My coworkers were surprised. Nick never works overtime, doesn't even join our parties. He always rushes home to his girlfriend. Why's he up for such a long trip now? I smiled, giving some vague excuses. Seeing I didn't want to elaborate, they quickly changed the subject. Everything was going smoothly until, 2 days before leaving, Anna asked me out for dinner, reminding me of an unresolved issue. It was her first time inviting me. In our 3 years together, I had always planned our outings. But Anna's reaction was either indifferent or she'd just skip it. Whenever I asked why, she'd nonchalantly say she didn't like crowded places. Yet her posts suggested she had a great time with friends. She just didn't want to be with me. I turned down Anna's invitation, and she immediately called. Nick, this is important. Remember the older students from college? They're married now and planning to move abroad. They gathered everyone to say goodbye. We're all friends, so I said you'd come for me. Please consider it. You've been away in the north for so long. I miss you. I didn't have any issues with the student group. Skipping it would be rude. Finally, I agreed. Okay, send me the restaurant address. I'll be there. A few minutes later, I looked at the address and chuckled. No way, it's the same restaurant I once booked to propose. When I arrived, most people were already there. Anna got up to greet me when she heard me come in. A friend saw this and joked, "What's up with you two? Aren't you a couple? Why didn't you come together? And why are you talking like you're so formal?" Anna glanced at my calm face, knowing I wouldn't explain, so she made up an excuse to brush it off. Nick, everyone already ordered. Come sit next to me. Is that seat next to you for me? A magnetic voice chimed in. Charles's voice reached us before he did, and Anna immediately checked my reaction. Once I sat down, I signaled Anna with my eyes. What are you waiting for? Sit down. Anna pursed her lips tightly, looking troubled as she sat next to me. She totally ignored Charles, who had just walked in. Instead, Charles leaned in first. Anna, how are you feeling now? Did you eat and rest well back home? I've been worried about you these past days. Before he could finish, Anna abruptly stood up and cut him off. Thanks for asking, but I'm fine now. You don't need to worry. Charles pursed his lips. How can I not worry? You never take care of yourself. If I don't worry, who will? After saying that, he provocatively glanced at me. I took a sip of my drink. Yeah, Anna, Charles is so concerned about you. You should really thank him for taking care of you day and night. With each word I said, Anna's face turned paler. She opened her mouth but eventually held back everything she wanted to say. But even if she stayed quiet, someone else decided to speak up for her. Charles, sitting to her left, filled her bowl with food. Anna, as long as we've known each other, it's what I should do. No thanks needed. But if you're unhappy, let us know. We're all here to help you figure it out. I looked down with a knowing smile. It seemed Charles really liked Anna. He was willing to ignore everyone else and put me on the spot for her. With this bit of back and forth, everyone guessed something had happened among the three of us. Fortunately, Charles didn't focus on me but was all about Anna, which was a relief. As the meal went on, everyone got a bit tipsy and started reminiscing about our college days. Hey, wasn't Charles and Anna the it couple in the student council back then? People shipped them so much. If I remember right, they were voted best campus couple 3 times in a row, right? They did date other people later and their hype cooled down. But I never would have guessed Anna would end up with Nick after graduation. Suddenly, a fist appeared in front of my face, making a pretend microphone. Nick, how'd you manage to win over our student council's goddess? Got any secret tips? I paused, instinctively looking at Anna and then at Charles, who was pouring her a drink nearby. Her heart all on me? Doubt it. When I didn't answer, my friends wisely changed the subject to talk about work. Just then, I got a text saying there was a problem at the new out-of-town office. I stood up and began gathering my stuff to leave. Nick, leaving already? Why the rush? What happened? I smiled politely. Oh, nothing much. Just some urgent work stuff. Work stuff? Anna, didn't you tell us Nick's work wasn't too busy? That he's been home taking care of you? Anna opened her mouth to explain, but Charles jumped in first. Taking care of Anna? Anna traveled so far home and got really sick. Is that how you take care of her? Does your job mean more to you than Anna does? He didn't hold back, clearly showing whose side he was on. Seeing how everyone was looking at the three of us, Anna couldn't take it anymore. Charles, shut up. It's between me and Nick. None of your business. Charles's voice suddenly rose, pointing at me. Anna, you're snapping at me? For him? The room instantly got awkward. Knowing he misspoke, Charles sat silently in a corner, showing his back to everyone. Anna glanced back and forth between me and him before finally walking over to me. Nick, if you're in a hurry, let's leave. As she talked, she reached for my arm. I chuckled softly and discreetly pulled it away. No need. You hardly get to see everyone. Stay and enjoy. Besides, someone else seems eager to take care of you. Anna's face turned ghostly pale. She leaned in and whispered, Nick, can we talk about this at home? There's nothing between Charles and me. Annoyed, I raised my voice. Anna, I've heard enough. How many times are you going to say this? Hearing this, Charles walked over to Anna. Nick, Anna and I are childhood friends. Everyone knows that. What do you mean by what you just said? You both know exactly what I mean, so there's no point in repeating myself. Bye. Once home, I started packing my things to move to the employee housing at the out-of-town branch. But to my surprise, Anna, who usually sided with her childhood friend, came back. She looked at the clothes scattered on the bed, her voice trembling. Nick, what are you doing? I'm packing. Isn't it obvious? Anna rushed over, pressing down on my hand. This is our home. Where are you moving to? I pried her fingers off one by one. The company set up a new branch. Naturally, I need to be there. Nick, what am I going to do now that you're gone? Can you really leave me alone at home? You promised you'd be good to me, said you'd always love me. When I heard that, I let go, and the suitcase hit the ground hard, echoing in the living room. Yeah, I said I'd take care of you, that I'd never leave. I did all that. But Anna, what about you? I opened that app in front of her, scrolling to the end of the updates. While I was planning our future, you never even had a place for me in your heart. I did love you, but that was the past, not now. I don't need half-hearted love. Anna, let's break up and never see each other again. Seeing how firm I was, Anna didn't try to change my mind. She let go and slowly sank onto the couch. You catch colds when you pull all-nighters. Remember to take your meds. Stop staying up late. I'll send you the brands of shampoo and body wash you prefer. I held up my phone, pointing to a name in the blocked list. No need to send it, really isn't necessary. As for those things you mentioned, I've already changed those habits. I stayed up late so you'd have a hot meal when you got home, and caught a cold, 'cause you pulled me up to work when I wasn't fully better. Those toiletries, Anna, I switched them ages ago. You just never noticed. Anna opened her mouth, but the words turned into a long sigh. This time moving out was way smoother than I expected, and Anna never showed up, even when I got settled into my new routine. After a while, I heard she started dating Charles, but things were rough. She kept spending big, and Charles was a spender too. They blew through their savings fast. Without money, they started breaking up a lot, making mutual friends miserable. 2 months later, I got a call from a strange number. Nick, it's your senior from college. We met at that restaurant gathering. I gotta tell you something. Anna and Charles broke up. I was surprised but calm. Hey, her life ain't my business. I was about to hang up, but she stopped me. Wait. Anna wants to see you one last time. After that, she promised she wouldn't bother you again. Couldn't say no. I didn't listen, just hung up and blocked the number. Didn't expect she was so persistent. Next day, as I got to work, there she was waiting outside, with a tense expression. Out of courtesy, I ended up at a nearby cafe with her. I sat down, and she handed me her phone. There was a picture. I'm still just relaying messages for Anna. She's not doing so well, wants to see you. I looked at the photo, her pale wrist covered with scars, some old, some new. Sorry, we're done. Not seeing her. Right after I said that, a familiar voice chimed in. Nick, I know you won't see me, so I came myself. It was Anna. After my senior left, Anna showed me her chat history with Charles. After we split, I thought hard. Realized you were always looking out for me. I blew it. I was all about Charles. Thought his sweet talk was real. Turned out he lied about everything, even studying abroad. He was just running scams. As she talked, she covered her face. He took all my money and disappeared. Even after reporting to the cops, who knows when I'll get it back. I even deleted that account you found. If you stay here long term, I'll switch jobs, move close, and take care of you. Nick, it's been months. I've changed everything you disliked. Please give me another shot, okay? We're still young. It's not too late. Her voice was full of desperation. Being with her for so long, it was the first time I'd seen Anna so humble, doing what I'd done countless times before. Taking a sip of my coffee, I let its warmth and bitterness draw me from memories. Is that all? You went through a lot to see me just to say that? Anna instantly panicked. What do you mean? Nothing much. Just finding it a bit funny that I was ever so into you. Anna, I knew from the start you approached me with an agenda. I just didn't mind. I know Charles was everything you imagined in a boyfriend, but his family's situation wasn't great, and he knew you too well. You only dared to use him cautiously, but you couldn't control him at all. Later, you found my situation decent and my job good, so you'd show up in front of me often, giving me obvious hints. But I didn't care because I liked you at the time. You made your decision when Charles went abroad. You were sad, and I happened to confess my feelings to you, so you agreed. But you didn't expect Charles to completely change and no longer be the childhood friend you once looked down on. So you actively reached out to him. You wanted some excitement but couldn't let go of the stable life and my care. So you kept swinging between the two, leading to where you are now. You brought this upon yourself. Anna, stop being naive. Not everything can be forgiven with a simple apology. In desperation, Anna grabbed my wrist. So, Nick, can you tell me what would make you forgive me? Why don't we get married right away? Okay? I won't interfere with you anymore. I'll do anything for you. Just please forgive me. Okay? I'm at my wit's end. No, I won't marry you, Anna. We're done. I don't love you anymore. Without hesitation, I got up and left, giving her only my back to look at. As I got into the elevator, I happened to run into a colleague who just transferred over. Nick, I heard you got promoted again in just a couple of weeks. Are you gonna celebrate? I smiled and waved it off. Tonight, let's have a gathering at the restaurant near the office. Sign up in the group if you want to come. It's on me. My new life has already begun. As for Anna, what happens with her is no longer my business.